Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the new Mortal Kombat movie. And bear in mind, this is a spoiler talk, so if you don't want any spoilers, kind of click away. But if you don't care and you want to stay here and know whether to watch the movie or not, stay here and let's check out more. So Mortal Kombat, just like I said when the trailer came out, I said they have a lot of blueprints for this movie. There are a lot of angles they could have gone on for, but unfortunately, they didn't do any of that. They did, like, let me say 30% of that and screwed up probably 70% of that, because there were so many angles that this movie could have gone on, but unfortunately they didn't. And you know what, let me just split it into two about the things I liked about the movie versus the things I didn't like about the movie. So starting off, let's say the VFX in this movie was really good. From the ice of Sub-Zero, you know, the brutalness of Mortal Kombat, everything we know from the game, from the lore of Mortal Kombat, how brutal it is, how gory it is, how bloody it is, and everything. We got to actually experience that in this movie, and the VFX team did not hold back on any of it. So for that, let me commend them and say, yeah, they did a very good job with the VFX, no doubt about that, no pose bars about that. And also we got very good arenas, you know, with regards to locations of where some final fights happen and all that. We got to see the pit and everything. So I thought, yeah, with that, the VFX team did a very good job. The various characters are corner, they did a good job with that. So yeah, for that, I'm gonna commend them. And I'm gonna say that it was nice to see like all of this coming to light in this movie, like it is in the video games. So for me, the characters that stood out in this movie, number one is Kano, because to some extent he kind of reminds me of what was his name, Boomerang in Suicide Squad. He's got that kind of wit and everything. But this Kano, I love this Kano because of how well he delivers his jokes, how witty he is, and he's a kind of an optimistic human being and everything. He even was the first person to receive his Arcana. So his positivity, his charisma in this movie, Kano was very brutal, and it was kind of sad seeing him bringing an end to his character in the movie. But then again, Shang Tsung said death is not the end, so probably we're gonna see Kano again or something. But yeah, Kano stood out in this movie. He was brilliant. He was the best actor. Let me say, he had the best performance in this movie. Next, I'm gonna say Sub-Zero. The first opening sequence and the ending sequence of this movie, they stood out the most, but Sub-Zero throughout the movie was probably the best villain that they had in this movie. Shang Tsung doesn't stand a chance. Nobody else stood a chance next to Sub-Zero, but I think that Joe Taslim did an incredible job embodying the character, and I also like the fact that he wasn't in the mask throughout the entire the entire movie, because having his face covered and everything would have toned down his acting. Let us not see how much he does well with expressions and everything. But his villainy in this movie was brilliant. Sub-Zero was great. It was amazing in this movie. And finally, the last thing I liked about this movie was the Johnny Cage cliffhanger. I mean, when the trailer came out, people were disappointed of not seeing Johnny Cage in this movie. So seeing him in the end credit scene, seeing the fact that he's being used as a cliffhanger towards the next Mortal Kombat is actually what's keeping fans excited. And to some extent and to some degree, we know that Johnny Cage is more of like the comic relief in the whole Mortal Kombat universe and everything. So yeah, seeing him in the end credit scene got some people pretty excited. I was excited to know that Johnny Cage would be coming in the sequel of this movie. So he being a cliffhanger, I thought was a good touch to it. Mortal Kombat has actually not begun in this movie. Even though it's Mortal Kombat has not actually started. This movie was basically set about a set of ambushes to, you know, to eliminate the Ethereum warriors before Mortal Kombat actually begun. So Mortal Kombat actually did not begin in this movie. So now moving on to the things that I did not like about the movie. Number one would be the story. I mean, yeah, the whole Scorpion and Sub-Zero story was necessary. It was based on the lore, and it was nice to see that Scorpion and Sub-Zero being mortal enemies or fatal enemies inside Mortal Kombat, rather than seeing them as henchmen as they were in the part 1 and 2 of Mortal Kombat that came out in the 90s. I think that the whole using Ko Young as a descendant of Scorpion and everything was total bullshit. It was not necessary. It was, I don't know why they decided to use that angle, because there were so many characters they could have built on There were so many characters that they could have used in order to make this movie Mortal Kombat. But bringing Ko Young into it, having him being a descendant of Scorpion and using his blood as a way to tether Scorpion into the current world was bullshit. It was not necessary. So with regards to the story and having Jax and Sonya being the pivot of how this whole Mortal Kombat movie was, it was shallow. I would say it was shallow. And also sidelining the main characters that we know of Mortal Kombat from the games and everything, sidelining the main characters and using Ko Young as the centerpiece of this Mortal Kombat movie, that's what makes the story bullshit. Because they could have gone through a whole lot of angles. Like I said, the blueprint was there, they did not use it, and they gave us a shitty storyline. So yeah, the storyline was crap. And number two, I would say the acting in this movie was not the best. The only person that had his acting on point 100% was Kano. That character was brilliant in this movie. But I thought Sonya was flat. Jax was good. Jax was okay. I thought Sonya was flat. I thought Kung Lao was flat. I thought Shang Tsung was not as impressive and everything as was supposed to be. Maybe I'm still too bent on the old Shang Tsung, but this Shang Tsung doing whatever it is that he was supposed to do, or doing it his way, or whatever it is, I think that he had the bar set too high for him and he couldn't hit it as much as he was supposed to. Because yeah, the previous Shang Tsung in the old Mortal Kombat movie was pretty darn impressive. So their acting was not 100%, and I think that in the subsequent movies that they have coming up or lined up, they should look for better actors to play better characters. Number three, in this movie, I would say they made very important characters that they brought in this movie. They made most of them irrelevant. Number one, I would say Goro, because we know from the game and everything that Goro is the champion of Mortal Kombat. But here they just sent him to go assassinate somebody. Goro is a prince. And having Cole take him down like that in this movie, it was bullshit. If, for someone who doesn't know the background of most of these characters in this movie, you just think that they are just two or more people just fighting. But if you know Mortal Kombat, if you follow the stories, if you have followed the game, then you know that there's more to these characters than what they led on in this movie. The history of most of these characters were not properly established. General Aiko, I think General Aiko was not even supposed to be in this movie. Netara, she was just a pose girl. Netara, the huntress, she was just a pose and she was just assassinated. She was useless. If they could have, I know Netara to be the wife of Borai Cho, and according to the games, but with making her like that, she just came, flew, and hurt herself saw in half by Kung Lao's character. Which Kung Lao, I was pretty sad that he died or whatever. I thought it was a waste of a character, but anyway, I don't think that they're gonna bring him in anymore. They wasted good characters and it became useless. Most of these characters that they brought in with regards to no history, and like I said, with someone who is not a fan of Mortal Kombat, they would just see it as two people just fighting, which is not the case. Mortal Kombat is supposed to be Mortal Kombat. It's not about people fighting. There is a story to it, and they miss most of the story to the history of most of these characters, making them henceforth irrelevant. I don't know why they brought Ko Young into this, but Ko Young was not as impressive as he was supposed to be. And his suit, what the hell was that? It was like some yellow vibranium look-alike kind of nonsense that came on his body, that his weapons, unexplained, just basa. You understand? It was bullshit. Cole's character, his suit, unexplained, his arcana, basically it was nonsense. It was nonsense. It was irrelevant. Cole's character was irrelevant in this movie. Today, this movie was below the bar, and I think that could have been better because they have the blueprint, but they did not use it. So yes, Mortal Kombat, have you watched it? If you have, what do you think about it? Let me know down in the comment section down below. And as usual, you can check out more videos right now.